Alright, creating the buildings right here, the primary goal is to create a little slum town where none of these buildings stick out. They all flow together seamlessly. I'm not going to have something that you could see in New York City right next to a river hut that's obviously seen in Asia next to a river. That just doesn't flow together. And as you can see from all of these different objects, right here we've got something that can be used in either the desert or the forest. It does say an adobe hut, but it works well in both locations. We've got a trailer home right here. You don't want to see that trailer home in the tropics of Asia, or this lighthouse that's not going to fit in. This hut would. I could go on and keep showing what does and doesn't fit, but you get the idea. This crane, this office that would flow in an urban city map, you're not going to see that in this one. So let's go back to these huts. I've got an adobe hut right here. That's right here. It was inserted. It's below the ground. The ground is this right here. I'm going to move it up like that. If I want to make precise measurements, there's the X, Y, and Z values. So all that stuff you learn in geometry class isn't useless. It's the X plane, the Y plane, and the Z plane. I can adjust it by millimeters or by meters. So I can raise this by, it was just at 157 a second ago on the y-axis, which is 157 meters above the, for lack of a better word, sea level, which is, it's basically the lowest level in this map, and it moved up 1 meter right there. You can't actually see this a lot. Let me make this a little bit more. The Z value moved that down because you look at it from a top-down perspective. You've got your X value, your Y value, your Z value up and down. So I can move this up by changing the Y value. Just went up. I can move this to the side, negative 335. And you're not going to be able to see this in the wireframe model because this grid is going to move with it. And I also didn't move it. It was over here a second ago, I believe. So, anyways. I'm just going to move this to where it would be next to a player, for reference sake. Again, I'm so familiar with this, I don't really need it by now, but you can see this is the entrance right here. My fingernail is, whereas the foot of the player is right here. So the player would have to jump to make it in there. That's going to take away from the immersion of the level. This needs to be moved down considerably. But at the same time, I need to keep in mind that this terrain is not flat. I can't move it down to fit exactly where the player is. Otherwise, part of this is going to be underground. So, it's expected that I'm going to be making some errors. And as I test the map, I'll find these errors. For instance, I might see a little bit of it's going to be difficult to tell right here, but there could be a mound inside of this hut, where in the game I'm going to see grass going into the adobe hut, and I can't really tell that from right here, so I'll just have to make a mental note of that and go back and fix it later. But right now it's at a point where the player can step into the hut and access it. The next part is, this is just a bare hut. There's absolutely nothing in it. if I want to give the look that there's people living in it, then seeing as it's a just, you know, a slum, I'm going to put some cinder blocks around here for a second before I can show exactly what I want to do. There is a bunk bed. I think that's too nice for this. That would go well in an army barracks, which I will be making the joint operations base. Let's see. Alright, the video is going to clip because you don't need to see this right now. I'm going to go find the beds on cinder blocks.